It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal! Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
That is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin.
Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for week 1 of season 10. We've made it to season 10. I'm your host, live from the landfill, where JD McKissick is sitting right behind me. Joining me on the program, well, I mean, who do we have here? We have the champ. The champ is here.
Yes.
Welcome,
What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Nice to be back.
As well as former. How should I introduce you this week? I don't know. Former champ, former commissioner,
loser.
Yeah, that works too. Mr. Lutsky, and yeah. So, how was everybody's off season? How was 10th?
Who cares about the off season? It's week 2.
That's true. I don't care about this last week because I don't want to talk about that. Here, I will take this off and talk like a normal human being. Anyway, yes, but 10th season already. Wow. So I was actually looking at the first season just to see, because it's already 10 years. So with Lombardi leaving, that leaves 7 players from the original season that are still in the league. 4 have won the championship. 3 from that original season have not. And only 3 non-original 10 teams have won the championship, 2 of which are on this podcast. So impressive, gentlemen. You know who the other one is? Who? The person who never stops talking and can't wait to hear his name on this podcast, Mr. Eugene Gossenput. As far as the original 10 teams that did not win, you have
Interesting.
The team of destiny this year. You have Black Ice. You have Tillet Trey. And oh yeah, that's it, right? All the rest have won. And ironically, Odwin's team in the first season was called Clowns in the Game, and he used the Joker logo for that.
Oh.
I have one other piece of stats. So from the original championship game between Nick and Jamie and Whalers, there is only one player that played this last week. Who do you think it is? I should give away a prize for anybody who could name it.
What's the question again?
From the original championship game between Nick and Jamie and the Whalers, there was only one player that played in that game on the starting lineups that played this last week, that's still in the league and played last week. Anybody know who it is?
Tom Brady.
He was not in that championship game. No, I'm not saying that there was. I'm saying
in the championship game. Oh, I mean, I wasn't in the league back then, so I don't know who was in.
I know you're one of the ones who won. So it was Keenan Allen, and he's no longer playing right now.
Yeah, he's on my team injured. That's right.
Exactly. So yes. All right. I guess we can get to this past week's games if we must.
Should we recap the draft a little bit?
If you want, I don't care. I mean, I never recap. So here's the thing. I mean, yeah, you're more than welcome to. I just don't like. Here's the thing. I just think that everybody has a very different style. of drafting. So my opinion on it, is going to be very different than somebody else's.
Mhm.
But I could, like Yahoo. Although I will say this, Yahoo actually gave Eugene the best draft score this year. And I have to say, and it's not just a result of his whatever of his play this last week, nor is it a result of him harassing me. Because honestly, I would rather do anything other than give him praise this week because he's annoyed the crap out of me. But this is the first time I actually looked at his team, and and admittedly, I have a very different drafting strategy than him. But it was the first time I looked at his team, and I was like, that's actually not a bad team. I don't think he has to go to Zmart. I also thought that this was the first time that Zmart had a terrible team, which I think is
It's interesting because I actually thought Zmart had a decent team going into week 1.
and
I
that's
was
what I'm
targeting
saying.
a few of his guys.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, I mean, everybody's
Everyone thinks differently. I mean, I think the league is deeper than it's been in a while. I think there are more good guys than in the past. So I actually think a Eugene strategy is interesting, or more. I would go that route more than like going for those blue chip guys, that could get hurt or kind of have, down weeks. So
what would you go for? I mean, like what?
I would implement more a Eugene strategy where to get like a deeper team more than like, those couple of blue chip guys and then only have like $20 for the last 13 picks, so and I think I don't know, I think that strategy is almost justified because a lot of the top guys besides Cup and Jefferson really had down weeks in week 1 for the most part.
Sure, though I mean, look, a week 1 result is going to be, you don't know how it's necessarily going to turn out, but it's not a matter of. I mean, like, look, I would have said McLaurin is a blue chip guy pretty much as a receiver, and he had a down week too. I mean, people could have.
I wouldn't consider McLaurin a blue chip guy. There are a few blue chip
before
guys.
this season.
Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, Taylor, Jefferson. Those are the blue chippers. There may be like 8 or 9 of them.
You're talking about like the top. You mean the consensus top 10 ranks is basically
right. So do you spend the $80, $85 on those guys, or do you?
I got them at a bargain this year. I was shocked at how little. First of all, I actually think if you look at the draft, I think finally not having a robo team helped bring some of the prices down. Because part of the problem that we had in previous years when we would have a robo team is that it would bid people up automatically to to a level that people wouldn't want, and it would happen with good players, it would happen with bad, which just brought the amount of money up in general. So I think not having that actually was able to lower some of the prices. Interestingly enough, I think also the fact that there's nobody. I felt like this year's draft class, like there was nobody. I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor was the consensus number 1, but I don't feel like there was. I don't feel like he was as number 1 as some other years number 1s. Like I don't think that he so far surpassed everybody else in the league as in previous seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, like I can tell you, I went into this draft. I had a pretty good idea of. I mean, like it was dictated by who I ended up getting. And because I was, I'm usually used to spending extreme amounts of money. And there was nobody that I really wanted to. So I think it was dictated by that, but there was nobody that I was really targeting. I wasn't targeting McCaffrey. I mean, I landed on him because I thought I got a good deal for him considering what it was. I mean, in all honesty, I was aiming for Eckler. That's who I wanted as my running back. I actually wanted it. So I wanted an Eckler Najee Harris combo, though I was nervous about Harris because of the Liz Frank injury in the preseason, and I was right to be nervous about it if you look at what happened in the first week, even though it looks like he will come back. But I just don't. I felt in previous years there was a guy that you had to get, and I just didn't feel that this year.
I mean, for the blue chip guys, I was kind of picturing a reasonable dollar amount for each of those guys in my head, and I would bid up to that amount, and then if it went over, I'd be like, what, screw it. Like that's
Why would you ever picture a reasonable dollar amount in this league?
Good point. In this league, I guess you can't, but like, for Henry, I got him for I think 62. I was going to go up to like 65, 66, but then I was going to stop. But since no one bid after 62, I like, that's my guy then. So same thing with like Josh Allen, for example. Like I think I was in a bidding war with Geza, and he just bid one more dollar than I was willing to pay. So he got him, So it's, I don't know. It's,
well, sure. Okay.
For, last year for Kamara to go for 104 being the top guy or like one of the blue chip guys. And then this year, the top guy, Taylor, going for only 80. I mean, it was a totally different draft this year. Totally different draft. And I think Taylor this year was better than Kamara last year, to be honest.
Well, yes, but
I think he was a better option going into this year than Kamara was going into last year. So, but
I should bring back the raccoon thing as my watch notifies me of more Whalers garbage dumping right now as we speak. He added Derek Carr and dropped Robert Woods.
I was actually surprised with Geza's strategy because he's always gone for those two blue chippers, and like he totally went the Eugene way. What was your thought process behind your draft strategy, Geza?
Just exactly like you said. My blue chippers last year were Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, and both got injured, and we were screwed. So we were just going a totally different route this time.
Okay.
I actually was gonna going into the draft. I thought I was gonna go with kind of the strategy that Giza ended up with, which was I was gonna go zero running back almost. I was gonna go like heavy on wide receivers. Obviously not zero running back, but if the theory, just get 3 receivers and then deal with the running backs later. But when McCaffrey came in there, I don't know. I play it out depending on how it goes, and I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only so much prep you can do for these drafts. I just think you kind of have to see how it plays out.
I mean, I have my mind on. I mean, I did about a month of research here and there, like listening to YouTube videos and stuff like that. So just getting an idea of who was out there and what people thought, and knowing who I wanted, and so I had various scenarios in mind, and I at least was familiar with the players that I would have found acceptable, and there was and you just play it as it goes along, and I really think that if any more than anything else, I think the draft just you get the frame of your team, and then you fill it in from there. But I don't know. I mean, but I do honestly think so. I mean, if I were to look at the draft, I do honestly think that Eugene had a very good draft. I think that his was probably the best. I thought Nick and Jamie's was probably the worst. Maybe
I agree. The Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, it was all Cowboys.
All Cowboys.
I mean,
and now Dak is out.
I know. So, I mean, talk about putting all of your eggs in one basket, then really dropping it.
I know. I was in Rhode Island during the like during the draft. And Gronky Kong, we were talking about it all weekend, and Gronky Kong is always about running backs, running backs, running backs. Like he has three kind of really good running backs, but
he does.
That's always going into a draft, he's always thinking about running backs, because they're just harder to get than wide receivers.
I agree, but they also go down more often. But I will say this. I thought when I saw what he ended up with in running backs, I said it could go one of two ways. It can go because he has three running backs that have the potential to be really good this year.
Right.
Or it can be a complete bust. And it's yet to be seen. I mean, because it was because I know it was Kamara,
Najee Harris, and Nick Chubb.
And Nick Chubb, yeah. So I mean, so you have, because they all have question marks with them, right? I mean, first of all, you have the potential looming suspension for Kamara. You have, whatever's going on down there in New Orleans. I mean, you have
Kareem Hunt to compete with,
right? And you have the quarterback being Brisket, so that that affects it. And Najee Harris also has, they don't have Ben there anymore. They have a pretty weak line. I mean, you have to really rely on the passing game. And he had the injury. So, I mean, it just depends. I mean, and as far as I thought Wakanda was, I think he got like three, from what I remember. I remember thinking he got like he was missing a piece. I don't know what it was, but it was like I was like, okay, not bad. But then I felt like he was missing a piece. I thought Tillett's starting lineup was pretty good, but then he got all Jets for like the bench, which I thought was interesting. But other than that, I thought it was good. I mean, I think Whalers. I don't remember what I thought about his draft, but I also don't really think too much about his draft because I know it doesn't even matter. I mean, like literally before before I had logged out of the screen to be done with the draft, he was already adding and dumping players. So
yeah, I mean, Whalers does have, he always seems to get Kittle every year. It's just a guy he just adores for some reason.
Like I always get my cap.
And Swift and Jefferson are good. I mean, Jefferson is an animal. Jefferson is kind of
he has really good receivers, right?
He does have good receivers. He's got Jefferson and Adams.
And Adams, yeah. No, he has very good receivers. That's right. Yeah.
So he must have targeted receivers, I guess, and just gets, he has a good RB1 with Swift.
Yeah.
He has a good team, but Akers was a complete dud.
All right.
I wouldn't get any Rams running backs, but I mean,
I wouldn't either. But I mean, sometimes, but I have full confidence that if there's somebody in the trash can, he's going to find.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I thought Wakanda had a decent team. He had he kind of got the blue chippers. He got Chase and Taylor, as the top two picks. So, I mean, now it's probably after week one, it doesn't look as good, but
still won. I thought Geese actually had a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, I don't know.
Yeah, way long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
The team has changed already.
People have been thrown out of here already.
The patience.
Right. Anyway, yeah. I think that's enough to draft analysis. Like I said, I don't really care that much about it.
I mean, our teams are going to all look very different in week 11 and 12 than they are now.
They look very different in week 3.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right, let's look at the week 1 matchups. I don't know. Where would you like to start? I mean, we could start with our game. It was one of the more
game.
It was quite dramatic. This was in all honesty, I have not. That game felt very much to me like the championship game I played with Geese. where I just needed something to have. I just needed my quarterback to just do the minimal amount on Monday night. He just could not. I mean, but then you add the extra little wrinkle of that he was passing to your
Passing to my running back. You had the Denver kicker.
Yeah.
As they were driving down, if McManus hits that 64-yarder, you win the game.
Yes, though I think it was so ridiculous. It was first of all, the play call in that last minute was so absurd. They had 3 timeouts.
It was absurd.
Why are you not calling timeout? And there was what was it, 40, 50 seconds left? Something like that when third.
They called a timeout
with 20 seconds left.
It had 1 second left on the play clock.
Right, with 20 seconds left in the game. So now they've already
unbelievable.
Yeah, they already put themselves in a hole. It's 4th and 5. You go for that. There's no reason to not go for that.
But there were so many things also before that happened that could have or did not impact the result of that game. Like the fumble at the goal line with Javonte. They were also at the goal line before that when Melvin Gordon got the ball.
Right. I know. And by the way, if Gordon scores that,
right,
and the extra point starts to, I mean, there's so many little things that happened throughout this entire game.
If Gordon scores that, they might not be dumping it off to Javonte, to give him the +1 every time,
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many little things in this game.
Yeah.
It was such a roller coaster ride. It was crazy. It was just there was one point where we were 0.02 apart in the fourth quarter of that game.
When Seattle had the ball and unfortunately that last drive, Wilson just kept dumping it off to Javonte. And then there was another one where he ran for a few yards. I think there might have been a holding call on that or whatever. It was just every little thing really mattered on that last drive.
Every play was a turning point in the scoreline. It was just incredible. It was just incredible. But if you look at the bigger picture in this game, I actually think both teams underachieved. Kupp did exceptionally well and Kelsey did exceptionally as well. So two of our top guys did great, but the other guys did poorly. McCaffrey 15.7. That's not a good score for him. I kind of dodged a bullet with that. Andrews, against the Jets, he should have more than 10 points. Burrow had negative points after the first half. That was pissing me off. Davis was fine for me. I mean, Javonte was fine. Thielen, that guy Cousins just throws to fucking Jefferson every time. Even in triple coverage, he just throws to Jefferson. Jefferson just finds a way to get open.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry with only 8 points. So I feel like the team's underachieved. Plus I had a lot of bench blunders. So I mean, I feel like I got lucky in this game. Really lucky.
I feel like you did too.
Me and Harbacken fell victim to the curse of Thursday night. Remember that, Harbacken? Whoever's players really score a lot of points on Thursday night, they always lose.
Absolutely, and that happened again.
Cooper Kupp and Josh Allen screwed us.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And the other thing, to be honest with you, I walk away from this game. I know that you might feel lucky about it. I actually walk away from this game feeling reasonably good. The only one that I don't feel good about is Russell Wilson at this point, and hopefully he has a bounce back. But I don't think he played well. I don't think that offense played well. I thought the coaching was terrible there. But other than that, I felt pretty good about other things. So all right, McCaffrey had an off game, but he still gets 15 points in admittedly an off game. I don't even think Cooper Kupp had that much of an astounding game. I mean, obviously 31 points is a lot, but he really didn't do much in that game. And I agree with you on Andrews was disappointing, but okay, he's gonna have that's gonna be, I think, more of an aberration. And he still was, I think, the top in targets in that game. And then so then when I look at the other pluses that I have, I needed to see what Rex Burkhead would do. And and the way my team is built, so I don't have a wide receiver two. I don't really have a running back two, and I don't really have a flex, at least when I came out of the auction. And I feel like if I can get the numbers out of the big three guys on my team, like if McCaffrey boosts it up, if Andrews boosts it up, and I can get just these minimal, numbers out of like Burkhead and Hines and stuff, I feel good. So I walk out of this game, obviously disappointed that I lost, but I feel pretty good about my team. I also, look, what do you call it? Mitchell in San Francisco got injured, so I had Jeff Wilson. That's good. I thought Benjamin is showing potential. I think Herbert in Chicago has potential to be really good down the line. I was impressed by how Chark played, so I was wary about playing Chark in this game because I thought that the Eagles corners would be good against him, and he still got those kind of points. So that makes me feel good. So I and I've said this many times. I don't think that week one, it's a shot in the dark. Week one, you don't know. And I don't really feel that until week 4 you have a good idea of what's out there and what to do with your team.
So you say you feel pretty good. I mean, I feel lucky and good, to be honest. Like
and had I won this, I would have felt lucky and good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel unlucky and good.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel decent. I feel like Thielen, he will catch a few touchdown passes this year. Kelsey, he seems like the primary target for Mahomes. Henry's going to have more than 8 points almost every other game. Javonte, I was actually pleasantly surprised by the fact that, Russell Wilson likes dumping it off to him for, with those screen passes. Davis, I mean, he's probably one of the top 2 running backs for wide receivers for Josh Allen. Burrow, I'm actually impressed with that 22 points. The fact that he had negative points after the first half, he had 4 picks and he still ended up with 20 plus. So I'm happy with that. And then you look at the bench, like Duvernay seems to be a good target for Lamar. Henderson looks to be the primary running back in front of Cam Akers. If you scroll down, I mean, I was shocked that Zamunda dropped Miles Sanders. I mean, that's a guy you want to have on your bench. He's I know the Philly running backs it's tough to know who to start, but he's probably their best guy. You want to have him on your bench.
Do you finally have the other end of the it was you and Eugene that were betting over the Sanders 20?
Yeah, the Sanders. I don't think
but he always had him, right?
Points every. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get 20 points every time, but
18, 50. He almost, first game
had 20.
I know, exactly.
And then Williams was actually good too. I mean, he had some goal line carries, even though he's the backup for Swift. But if Swift gets hurt, he's another guy you want to have. So I feel like I have a deep bench. I have good, a kind of a well-rounded team. I mean, I think my RB2 is better than yours.
Better than my RB2? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have an RB2.
Yeah. So we kind of it's the tight ends are a wash.
Tight ends are a wash.
Wide receivers probably, with Cooper Kupp, yours are definitely stronger, but I mean, there's so many good receivers out there. So I don't know. I'm pleased.
Sure. Well, so I think that if I'd feel happy about Williams, Javonte Williams, he looks real. Claypool's a disappointment. I'd be concerned about Henry at this point.
I dropped him already.
There you go. Thielen, I'm sorry. I thought he was concerned before the season. He should be. Duvernay, I think that's an aberration. Henderson, you could, I think, okay. Higbee looked terrible in that game. What?
Higbee's gone.
Well, then there you go. And then so Sanders, and then whatever. But I mean, look, like I said, you don't really know anything until week 3. So Anyway, nobody else cares about our game, so congrats.
Crazy game though. I mean, it was a total roller coaster, especially on Monday night. It was insane.
Absolutely.
Insane.
All right. Where shall we go next?
Let's go to Gaze's game.
Ugh.
Get it over with.
Get it over with. Go ahead, Geese.
This game did not go at all like I thought it was. Well, I mean, Mahomes is 44.9 was definitely a problem, but I mean, Allen matched up well. You take away the 3 boneheaded interceptions, that 2 of them weren't even his fault, and they basically scored the same. Robinson, you knew he was going to be garbage. Tyreek Hill didn't disappoint. McLaurin disappointed. I didn't count on Carson Wentz being so terrible. He was horrendous. And he locked into his new lover, Samuel.
And he got paid by Tillett, and he had one of the higher scoring weeks this week in fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And yeah, exactly. Once McLaurin gets, I have a philosophy. Once somebody gets paid, they're out. Stay the hell away from him. McLaurin was in no rush to do anything. Every time he went to the sidelines, he was checking his Wells Fargo to move money around. Like, I hate those kind of players. They're just literally looking at their bank accounts. Deontay Johnson, I didn't know what was going to happen with him, whether he was going to play or not. I mean, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, that was a wild game that went into overtime. So that he benefited from a little overtime action.
Why did that game go into overtime, by the way?
Oh, well, we'll get to that. That's farther down the list.
I mean, are you kicking yourself about that one?
Oh, he's gone already. This team's gone already. The kicker's out. Eugene scooped him up immediately. Good luck with that, Eugene. You're going to find out right away. Your points go backwards. I mean, of course, we had the Thursday night curse where we went up big. And then Dalvin Cook, I was, a little nervous about him. Jacobs just kept nickel and diming me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, he got 2 touchdowns early.
Maybe a nickel and 3 pennies. He didn't even get a dime.
Edwards-Helaire got 2 touchdowns early, and I was hooting and hollering. He didn't do shit for the rest of the game. Literally did nothing. Knox he got paid. So look at the 2 people he got. McLaurin and Knox got paid. And they sucked.
I mean, McLaurin still got 13.
On a bomb. On a 49-yard touchdown bomb. Things were cruising along until Bateman, the Jets, left him wide open. Thanks, Jets, for a humongous touchdown bomb of his own. And then, the Buffalo defense with 17. I mean, I had to rely on Dallas getting 15 points in the Monday night game or a Sunday night game. That was not going to happen.
Yeah, that's the difference in the game. If you both score 8 points, you win.
I mean, there's so many differences in this game. I mean, first of all, Allen's 3 picks. Keenan Allen, of course, the other Allen, pulls a hammy in the second quarter. Oh, my leg.
After he already had 10 points, by the way.
Yeah, there's a man down. He had 4 catches for 66 yards. I think already, like he was on fire. And then all of a sudden, oh, my leg. And he's done for the game. When a big Q shows up during the game, they're not coming back.
No, they're not coming back. So, I mean, I guess this is the first game where the -3 for missed extra points kind of hurt you because
thanks, Friedman. Thanks, Commissioner.
I mean, so McPherson, they tied the game at 20 with the Chase touchdown at the end. And then McPherson, this is the extra point.
All he had to do was kick an extra point. I mean,
all he had to do was pick.
And then he misses.
This guy was money all of last year.
Yeah.
He was money.
So I had 9 points for McPherson late in the fourth quarter, and I ended up with 4.
And not only that, by him missing, it also gave Deontay Johnson more points in overtime.
Right.
So look at this. So look at this horse shit. Okay. So add the 5 points for McPherson. And then the 3 interceptions from Josh Allen. What's that? Another 6 points?
That's
and what did I lose by? I lost by 10.
You lost by the defense. You lost by the Buffalo defense.
Yeah, 17 points. If
they
scored 1 touchdown at the end. You
I mean,
know, that was-
you had some bench blunders too, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's look down.
Well, first of all, you can't play them all. So one of the running back bench blunders is canceled out by Hilaire. Okay, we only have 4 running backs.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other one, I mean, yeah, I played Singletary because I thought Buffalo was hot. Singletary was hot garbage.
I'm surprised you didn't consider Gibson over Hilaire. Well, Hilaire, yeah. I mean,
I would have lost 2 points.
Gibson. I mean, they're playing Jacksonville against Singletary against the Rams. I don't know. That's tough.
The bench shows signs of promise, but Stevenson is a problem because Harris, they split carries. Actually, Harris got most of the
Playing
action.
any Patriots is trouble. It's just a weird team to play guys on.
I should have listened to Harbacken and played Patterson. He loves himself some Patterson.
I'm loving him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm lucky he didn't play Kareem Hunt. And I mean, the rest of it, Jarvis Landry, you know, you're not going to take out Tyreek Hill for Jarvis Landry.
No.
Or McLaurin or Allen for that matter. So, you know, Landry had no chance of being on the field.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, a great win by Boateng. I got to tip my hat to him.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes was a monster.
Yeah, Mahomes was a monster.
I mean, the Chiefs had first
and
and goal at the 1, and Hilaire in there, and they ended up throwing a touchdown.
to be honest, Allen was a monster too. Most of those interceptions were not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And a welcome to the league for Stalin over there, as Whalers dubbed him, coming in at the last minute.
Yeah, and getting a win.
Yeah. Which and knows that he got a win because unlike Cyberdyne, who it was getting preposterous, you know, by that point. Anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a wrap. This team, a lot of these players are already thrown in the dumpster. So good luck, Whalers. Get your shopping cart out.
Sure, he already has it out.
I feel like Whalers has more spots on his roster than everyone else in the league.
Well, because first of all, he puts 3 IR people on. Then a lot of the times, this is what he also does. He won't have a defense until like the last minute. So, you know, and then sometimes I don't even know if he has a kicker. So honestly, he just loads up the bench with all the options. This is what I was saying this morning, which I was actually surprised when he said no, he was just doing it to fuck you on the McKissick thing, who he ended up dropping anyway. But I feel like, at least most of the time, because I've noticed this with myself, I will drop somebody and it will immediately go onto his team. I don't even think, it feels like he doesn't even like think about it. It's just like automatic. He sees trash, he picks it up, then he'll make the assessment later on in the week when he finally has to.
Yeah, he already dropped McKinnon already.
I know.
We'll get into the transactions
because somebody else dropped another piece of trash. I'm sure he had to react to it, and he had to get like the raccoon moniker is there for a reason. He picks up whatever he finds, whatever piece of trash he finds, and then he makes the assessment at the end of the week, and then at the end of the season, you know, whichever.
Yeah, and then he's in the championship game and then loses.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it, 4 times? He's been in the finals 4 times already?
Something like that.
Almost half he's due. By the way, he says he's the Whale of Destiny. He's due, I think, because he's been there every other year. This is put your money on the Whalers at least making the finals this year. Everything. I mean, he says he's the Whale of Destiny. I would put, you know, Mr. Parlay Man there. I would put the money on him being there. Him versus.
All right. I mean, I don't think anyone has minus odds to win this title. I mean, you know, everyone is plus money.
I mean, I don't know
if you can get Whalers to win this league at plus 350, 400, I might sprinkle a little bit on that.
Sure, I don't know what any of those things mean because I don't gamble, but you know, whatever. I've gone to the horse track when I was a kid, so I'll put money on him to place. I know what that means. And I'll put money on who do I think is going to show? I mean, I mean, by historical accounts, you should not make the playoffs. Only one team has won the championship and then made the playoffs the next year.
So is Gronky Kong due?
Is he due? It's his second year. I don't know if he's due. Who's due?
It's his third year, but I mean, no one. no one has won this title twice, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think I was wrong in the beginning. So yeah, what do you call it? The lightning rods weren't here in the first season. So scratch that. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. Half the teams are from the original season. So basically everything I said in the beginning is not accurate. 6 teams are here from the first season. 4 of the 6 have won it. The only 2 who haven't won it are Tillett and Whalers from the first season. I sniff a Tillett versus Whalers final. That's where I'm putting my money. Tillett versus Whalers. I don't know how it's gonna happen. A rematch of Watson Bowl 5. That's where I'm putting $1. Because we're all out. Because I mean, maybe that now that we're in the 10th season and we're entering another decade of team, maybe it's finally time for somebody to repeat. But I don't think that happens until 12. I think that it's going to be somebody that hasn't won yet. So maybe Gronky Kong. Maybe there you go. Maybe he's, I wouldn't say due, but maybe,
Yeah.
No.
You gotta get his wide receiver crisis kind of in order.
I'm not basing it on their actual team. I'm just basing it on historical trends.
All
right. So then let's go to the rematch of championship game. What was it? 8?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Dave's Secret Crush versus the Zamunda Lions. The game that Nick does not stop talking about his TV that he bought from. Dave's Secret Crush, yeah. Kick the crap out of him. Look, I, unlike you, thought Nick had a terrible team. I think this is the perfect way to not have people shop at Z-Mart, is to not have a good team. Yeah. And this is exactly what I would have predicted. Had we done a show leading into this is exact, yeah, Eugene was going to win this, and Nick was going to lose this.
I can't even see a player I would actually try and trade for them for.
I mean, like Eckler on Nick at Z-Mart.
Yeah.
Like, where would you go bargain bin shopping at Z-Mart?
The shelves are barren.
I know. Which aisle would you? I mean, I'm not going down the Lance aisle.
No.
I mean, Eckler. I would. I mean, but I mean, maybe he's having a sale on Eckler. I don't know.
Why isn't he starting Waddle?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Why are you starting Waddle?
Why? I mean, because you could be fearful. I mean, maybe next week he will, but I'm just saying, like, so
Waddle,
I mean, leading into it, the talk was, oh, it's going to go to Tyreek Hill. Waddle will be the lost man. I mean, Nick follows the latte picks more than anybody, both in fantasy football and in life. And
he doesn't have any Raiders.
Because the latte people are not saying to pick up Raiders. I mean, basically, I mean, like, probably all of these guys are on Matthew Berry's podcast. Everyone on Nick's team probably is. I mean, Trey Lance, I've heard his name a million times. I mean, like, Eckler, Aaron Jones, everybody's talking about him. Christian Kirk got paid. That he goes against your theory, Geese. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, he's playing me next week, so don't start Waddle. Start Pickens.
He doesn't listen to us. He's not one of the ones who cares. But let's get on to the one who does care and hangs on every word. He's looking for bulletin board material. I don't really have any for him. I think his team is good. I thought his team was good out of the draft. Herbert's a great pickup. Cortland Sutton. Even though this was a bad game for him and he still got 11 points. Saquon
overachieved. I didn't think he would be that good.
I didn't think he would be that good.
It's actually but Pitt's underachieved.
Yes.
That guy, Amon-Ra from the Lions, he always seems to get a shit ton of points.
Yes, he
Even
does.
at the end
I
of
thought
last year, he was an animal. That guy.
I know. I actually would have liked him. I just didn't have any money for him. But I thought that was a great pickup. I actually, so as far as AJ Brown in Philadelphia, I didn't know how it would go. I'm actually surprised that he had that good a game. See, that's the thing when players move teams. I didn't, you find out, was it the old team or the new team? It's kind of like with Russell Wilson, for example. Like, you see how well Geno Smith did, and you see how poorly Russ did, and you maybe at least start to question, like, well, was it Pete Carroll, like the old system, that really made him the team or not? And reverse here with AJ Brown, maybe he was just that good on Tennessee, and not reverse. Uh, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then naturally, I'm sure Eugene has a good bench, so he's got Hurts, who was good. I mean, I thought that I mean, I actually, so I still watch the latte shows because I want to know what everybody else thinks. But um, everybody was kind of saying big things about Philadelphia. I didn't really necessarily believe it, but I thought that they were, fantasy wise, that they were pretty good. Cooks was a good pickup in Houston. Mitchell getting hurt, that he got hurt, whatever. This Bryce Hall guy, every latte show is, talking about him. I feel like Eugene really does. Look, I mean, as I've said, I don't really tend to agree with the latte shows, but he clearly watches a lot of them and like follows them. He plays fantasy football very much like by the book, I kind of want to say, you know, and so I mean, he's gonna get players like that,
Yeah, it's a pretty good team. I think it's a little bit inflated with Saquon's performance. I don't think he's gonna. I mean, he showed signs of being good, but I don't think he's gonna keep that up.
But that's another thing that they said. They said that he was gonna, if you listen to any of the reports beforehand, they said that he was gonna be the guy that they were gonna feed the ball to all the time. I don't know. I just didn't have the confidence in that all.
Yeah, number 2 pick, but he's always gotten hurt as well. So like, I don't know. He has an injury history.
Sure.
Sutton will probably be better. I mean, that's a really good performance from AJ Brown. Etienne, I saw signs that he's not fully ready to be in the NFL. I think
it was another hot latte pick.
It was, and I was looking at him before the draft, but I'm like, I don't know, is this guy really going to be ready?
Was that hit that he got clobbered? Was that the sign that he was ready?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this guy's really ready to be in the NFL. But he has 2 really good quarterbacks, Hurts and
does Z-Mart have anybody that he could take? Aaron Jones over there, maybe he wants to go shopping for
he'll go after Waddle.
He'll go after Waddle. I mean, so what do you think he packages up? Obviously Tony, with a 2.3, and then throwing a Mitchell because he's injured. I mean,
he got rid of Mitchell already.
He's not. Oh, did he? Oh,
somebody scooped him up already.
Oh, there you go. I think Bryce Hall might be a little bit too good. I mean, Folk, maybe you throwing Folk.
Who's no David Montgomery on his team. No,
I know. Who is Montgomery?
Packaging up garbage. Maybe he'll trade him his own package.
Yeah, maybe he'll trade for Montgomery.
I mean, one more hit like that to Etienne, and maybe he will be packaged up.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
wait. So with AJ Brown having such a humongous game, what's going to happen to Devontae Smith over there with his big fat? I mean, is that even worth having him?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to Philadelphia. I don't know. Manny?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I don't pay attention over there.
I mean, AJ Brown is clearly the top receiver there. Devontae
sure.
Smith had the same number of points as Cam Akers.
Maybe. Well, yeah, I mean, let's see if Whalers tries to trade Cam Akers there for some Eckler.
Oh yeah,
for
you know
Jones.
he's gonna be packaged up.
I like that. Cam Akers for Waddle, straight up.
Yeah, exactly.
Done deal. Make the offer. Send the paperwork.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about this game.
Yeah.
Someone they got.
And by the way, yeah, Eugene actually had a pretty, like, if you look at the score, like there was a lot of, Etienne was disappointing, Pitts was disappointing, the kicker was disappointing, the defense didn't really do much, and yet he still got the highest score in the league. So certainly something to be said there.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can tune out until the second half when we start having a look at the next thing. All right, let's move down the list. The Lightning Rods versus Tillet Trey. Tillet Trey wins this. Both these teams underperforming, to say the least. So he had Dak. Well, so part of the reason why I'm assuming he spent $35, I believe, we could talk about that, but like on Wentz, is because he loses Dak. I mean, we can get to it, whatever. So it doesn't hurt him as much as you would think. Judy, I mean, really, Judy got, was it that one play?
That one play, yeah, that was like 55 yards.
Yeah.
So he got like more than half of his points in that one play.
Metcalf only 8 points, a fumble loss. I mean, that's just not really that good. But Mixon, a lot of people said Mixon was going to be good. He was good. Fournette, wasn't he injured now or something? But he had a good performance.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was high on GoDirt.com. Only gets 9. Like I said, I didn't watch the Philadelphia game, so I have no idea.
We were looking at Connor.
Yeah, me and Geese were both looking at Connor, and for good reason.
The team is pretty bad.
Doesn't matter. Connor he scores a lot of touchdowns. I mean, he was what was he in points last year? I think he was like 4 in points last year.
Yeah, that's higher than I thought.
Oh, I'll get you no reason to speculate. I'll get you the actual number that he was last year. So I don't know, talk about something else. Entertain the people while I look this up. This will take a second. Really? Nothing? Nobody has anything to say?
Well, they're being entertained. This is entertaining.
It's so entertaining. He was number 5. He was the 5th. He had the 5th most points. 5th. So it was Jonathan Taylor, Eckler, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, and then James Conner.
Wow. That's much higher than I thought.
257.7 points.
So he's got 4 and 5.
Yeah, and now to be fair, most of those were on touchdowns, but still, I mean, fifth in points for running backs. Not bad. Okay. Yeah, I mean, nothing else too surprising there.
The one guy I was kind of targeting on both of these teams during the draft is Michael Pittman. I really wanted that guy.
Oh yeah, he was good too.
Yeah, that was one guy. I mean, he went for $35. I was willing to pay like up to 30 or 33, but I was like, I mean, I wanted him badly, but I wasn't going to pay that much for a receiver. But
I love your arbitrary numbers.
Yeah, I make like arbitrary numbers for a bunch of guys.
You just have like a budget. You have like a wide receiver budget and then like a running back budget and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's too mathematical for me. I fly by this seat of my
Well, it also depends on how much money I have. I just kind of make a mental note. Also, it's based on who I'm targeting before the draft, but also like what's going on during the draft and like seeing how much I have, But I wanted him badly, to say the least.
Yeah, I just don't have a strategy. Like 2 years, like I think it was 2 years ago when Whalers got McCaffrey, like he was bidding me up, and I just stuck him with McCaffrey because I could tell that he didn't want him, and so I just wanted to be stuck with the $92 on his team. So I've that's why I don't even have a strategy, because I will draft based on spite.
Yeah, just bid someone up so they waste their money.
I no, I don't bid people up. Well, so let me put it this way: I will bid robo drafters up, which is how I ended up. Who did I end up with that time?
Le'Veon
Bell, right? Because I was trying to bid him up so that Lombardi would get stuck with the bill, and then for some reason, out of the blue, Robo Defender stops bidding, and then I got stuck with him. Like in the year that he didn't even play. Oh, drove me nuts. But then thank God I shopped at Z-Mart and I got the backup.
Yeah, you got Connor. Z-Mart was open late.
What?
Z-Mart was open late.
It was. I think I traded Kittle that year, which actually, so it did end up hurting me, but that completely threw my draft. Anyway,
the funniest text throughout the week was after the Thursday night game when Akers had 0 points and Whalers was like, Nick Severi, want to chat?
That was hilarious.
That was good.
That was good.
Yes, really funny. Mike Williams, what happened there? I didn't watch any of that game. Only 3 points. What happened with Allen going down? What happened there?
Not good stuff.
Interesting. Montgomery. Oh, there's Montgomery. There he is with 8 points.
8 points.
Maybe you should throw him in the trash can so that somebody like Eugene can pick him up. Interesting. Melvin Gordon with only 7 points. So I mean, I think Gordon's value is in taking down Javonte Williams' value. I don't think that it's clearly going to be Williams is the better running back to have.
Absolutely.
Hawkinson disappointing with 7.8, and then like you said, Pittman with 27 points. Disappointing game for Brady there too. Yeah. I mean, good for Tillett for winning this game when his quarterback goes down with only 4.46 points. So, maybe if he had a better quarterback total there, he ends up getting an even bigger win. So, good win for him. I think the Lightning Rods might be in a little bit of trouble. Diggs, obviously good performer, and then Brady maybe straightens himself out a little bit, but other than that, I see a lot of problems on this Lightning Rods team. Pierce with only 4.9, he did not look good. Another latte pick. Aaron Rodgers with 3.7. Yikes.
Yep.
Michael Thomas, your buddy Michael Thomas on the bench.
Oh yeah, on the bench for 22.
Yeah, this time not on the NFL Fields bench, but on a player's bench. 20. You want to trade for him, Keith?
Not food fighting in the cafeteria this time, actually on the field.
Are you gonna try to trade for him?
No, Michael Thomas, I'm done with him.
And the big hot pick, Isaiah Likely with a whooping 0 points.
That was likely the score he was going to get.
Yeah, exactly. that was pretty likely. And Chase Edmonds with 10.5 points. A lot of the people were very high on him. So and of course Lightning Rod's not that high on him because he didn't play him. But whatever. I mean, you got to play Montgomery when you got him. You smoke him if you got him. All right. Moving on to the next game, Gronky Kong versus the Whale of Destiny.
Gronky Kong.
I know this. First of all, this is a battle of the Titans kind of matchup right here, and low scoring. Obviously helped out by Akers having. I mean, like you want to talk about so you look at the top of this Whalers team, and then you look at the bottom. It's like whoa. So Trevor Lawrence. I guess that's who was left. But yeah, helped out by.
Oh my God, 4 people won this game for him.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Because look at the
Trevor Lawrence, and I dropped him, and then Whalers picked him up. Of course
he did. So that's the musical chairs that he landed on. He won this. And when you say 4, that's like 4 generously because Trevor Lawrence, whatever. No, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams. So that's what, nearly 70 points between those two, and then add 26 for Swift. That's what won the game from. That's basically my strategy in a nutshell. And he didn't even get the points from the other people. Njoku with 1.7, 2.3 for Woods, 1 for Prater, 0 for the defense. Nothing on the bench. I mean, like, he has a million bench spots, not a point. 10 points total from his bench.
Wow. Wow.
He certainly didn't make any bench blunders. I'll give him that. So, but hey, if you're going to score enough to win a game with your top 4 players, you're in any game.
I mean, it was still a low scoring week. It's not like he like blew it out of the park. It's not, he's under his projection.
Yeah, but this is the king of the garbage. He doesn't need that much more. If he can get those kind of performances from 4 guys, he could find some rusty old nickels in the, sitting in a tuna sandwich somewhere, and watch out for this team. He's the whale of destiny. He's the whale of destiny.
Well, I mean, after Akers had 0 and who else was out? Kittle was out. Like, I thought he should have changed his team name.
To what? He's still 1-0. It's the whale of destiny. It's destiny.
I don't know. He's got 2 good guys. 3 good guys. Okay.
Doesn't matter. I mean, what are we talking about? So, like, he's already. I mean, so he's won after the Watson Bowl win. So he's won. First of all, he's already won football. Now he hasn't won fantasy football. That's next on his check mark list. He's undefeated in baseball. What's left after that? The man, golf. I think he has golf. If he win, he could by next fall. He could be the first person to win all the center a career. What is it?
Grand Slam.
It's more than a Grand Slam. He already has a Grand Slam. A career, like an EGOT, but like, for all of the center trophies. He could have it by next year. He's the whale of destiny. Watch out for him.
All right.
But other than the destiny, his team sucks. But like, but because of the destiny, he's gonna win. But his team's not that good right now. But he's destined. Gronky Kong. What happened? Okay, so Lamar Jackson does well. Ayuk does not. Sammy Watkins, yayos. So he was playing clearly. He was because Lazard was out. He was reading some clippings. Still trying to figure out what his source of fantasy information is.
Which Manny failed to find out on 2 trips over there.
Yeah, I mean, we sent you there just to find out, like, why are you not? Me and Geese are not going to pay for the bills that you send us. If you're
His
not.
info is in the baby's room,
and
when the baby's sleeping, I can't go in there.
Well, look, his draft strategy was to load up on running backs and have them carry the team, and then wide receivers, he's going to go find some. But the problem is his running backs shit the bed. And that was that's the bedrock of his team. And then the wide receivers, you can't expect Ayuk or Watkins to really do anything. He was expecting the running backs to really, so that's the problem with Gronky Kong. When the running backs don't deliver, Watkins, it's a big no. He's Gronky Bong, because what's he smoking over there? Not going to carry the team with those guys. I mean, would the bench going to offer anything? I think Hopkins comes back in week 7.
Right.
Boyd was all right. Fields, I don't think Fields is the answer. I mean, Seamet, he got as many points as he was expected to get. And then
and I have some doubts about this team.
And AJ Green, I mean, come on.
AJ Green. AJ Green was another. See, so
he was on my team.
I can't see that's. I've spread out my who I listen to nowadays. I listen to more people than I used to, and I don't actually follow any of their advice, but I listen to what all of them say. So his pickups. I can't pinpoint him to a one rando guy. I'm gonna find out who it is, and I'm not gonna have to go into the baby's room to find out. How old is the baby?
Just turned 1.
All right. Well, when it can talk, I want you to pay it to tell you what the information is.
All right, I'll do that.
All right. But in the meantime, well, I might not even need to. If this is the kind of drafting he does, then I don't even care. What did Schultz do? I mean, Schultz might be okay because the Dak's not going to be in there, and then whoever the loser is behind him is going to maybe pass to the tight end. That's the only one who could. I don't even know. But I'm playing him this week, so he's great. The man is great. He's a god amongst men. Nothing but respect for the man this week. All right, moving on to Nick and Jamie, formerly known as the Garbage Barge. Currently,
oh, you son of a bitch! I was looking at him, Manny.
Yeah, I saw that he was dropped, and I was like, I gotta get him. I wanted him.
What's happening right
Son of
now?
a bitch! He wants 2 firsts from Tyler Boyd,
Yeah.
and T. Higgins is injured. I don't know what Gronky Kong is doing.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised by that.
What are you
that
colluding
drop.
in the middle of this podcast right now?
No, he just picked up Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, as we mention him, and then suddenly he gets dropped. Suspicious.
No, he was dropped eons ago.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go pick him up?
Huh?
Why didn't you go pick him up then?
I got too many problems of my own right now.
But a Boyd ain't one.
Uh-uh.
All right. To this game, Wakanda. They actually won one.
I thought Wakanda was in trouble. They surprised me this week
by winning.
They beat the crap out of Nick and Jamie.
Yeah, but I think that's more an element of Nick and Jamie. I mean, Nick and Jamie got 87 points. Did anybody score lower? Did Zamunda score lower? They just beat out Zamunda by a point. Oof. In terribleness. Whew. Wakanda did outperform their.
Oof! I didn't realize Taylor had 27 points. I thought he had an off week, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's an off week for him. 27.
Yeah, in the league off week.
So he plays your favorite, Kirk Cousins, with 23. Jamar Chase, obviously, well touted, 28. 10 for Hardman, although that seems to be off of a touchdown. Yes, Taylor with
10. Horrible. 10 with a touchdown?
Yeah. I don't even understand that stat. So one receiving TD. Okay. And then 3 receptions for 16 yards. Okay. Yeah. That'll add up to that. McKissick, the man, the myth, the legend, was 7.8. Three receptions, 20 yards, and a 2-point conversion equals 25 free agent auction dollars. I mean, this is the kind of performance that just makes you go, yes, I want to spend money on that. 7.8 points. I need that. Fryermuth was 12.5. Godwin goes down with an injury. I know somebody already picked him up. Crosby with 1 and New Orleans with 5. Over there in the garbage road. So here's the problem. Everybody on this team over here for Nick and Jamie was in the same game. They're all on Dallas, and now Dak is injured. This team is, I mean, circle the drain. This team is headed for the toilet. Is Dak coming back at all this season, or is it
like 3 weeks? I think you miss.
No, I thought it's like 8 weeks.
8 weeks,
like 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, and Pollard, and he started both Zeke and Pollard.
I know. I mean,
what are you doing?
I don't know. 4.9 for Lamb. I mean, how much did he get? He didn't even get.
I understand starting Pollard if Zeke is hurt, but like both,
he didn't even get a Mike Evans out of all 3 of his Dallas people. So 24 points for Murray, 18 for Evans. Ertz with 11. Higgins with 4. I mean, the kicker outplayed most of the Dallas.
Why didn't they pick up Tyler Boyd with Higgins hurt?
I don't know.
That would have been an upgrade.
I mean, and then anything on the bench, let's see. So he picked up Dobbins with 0. Well, I mean, was he even playing? I don't think it was playing. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't show Julio Jones into that game. They missed the guy.
Yeah, I know. He should have had them all in that game. Matty Ice 17 points and whatever. Kenyon Drake 5.6. Which Brown is this? Is this Marquise Brown? Hollywood Brown? 14.3. And then London 12.4. Yeah, I mean, just what is the lowest that a team has ever scored in a season?
40 by Lombardi.
No, that was in a game. I'm just wondering for a season, what is the lowest that a team is? Season average lowest points ever was Tillett Trey with 86 points per game back in 2000. Wow. So the first season. So that is the bar. Well, do they have like team points? I don't want the average. I want the total. What was the total lowest amount of points? Because I think that they could make it. Defensive points. I don't care about that. Whatever. Yeah,
most points from a single player.
Most point. What is it?
Most points from a single player.
I don't think they say the single. No. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a single week. Still 209 sitting up there. Nice. Oh, and then I remember this. Yeah, Eugene. I think I said something that cursed my ability to have the most all time that year. Whatever. All right. Let's take a break and then we could talk about the upcoming games and these acquisitions that took place yesterday. All right. Well, first,
standing when we come look at the standings.
What's that?
We'll look at the standings, I guess, when we come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like
transactions.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do all that stuff.
I think I've actually made 0 moves.
Wow, that's very unlike you. Well, we'll take a look at it right now. We'll look at it right after this.
I'll be right back.
We'll all be right back. Welcome back. Time to take a look at last week's. What are we doing? I don't know. I can't even remember how to do this anymore. It's been so long. I'm rusty at this point. All right, let's take a look at the transactions. So, free agents. What do we do here with free agents? So, Donovan People-Jones, you got for $3.
Yep, he got quite a lot of targets from Jacoby Brissett. He had 12 points last week, 11 targets. That made me pleased. And he has a really good matchup this week against the Jets, so that's why I decided to put a little money on him.
So you're doing some Duvernay, trying to repeat that little whatever right there. All right. Now explain this one.
So that was the warm up. So McKinnon, I actually thought more people would go after him. To be honest, he is Edwards-Helaire backup running back, and he is the primary catching back in the Kansas City backfield.
Yeah, on a team that never runs it. Trust me.
Good point.
The primary with 4 attempts, or did he have any more than that, or no? Or just no? Did he? He's the primary.
I was on the fence whether or not to go for him or to go for that number 10. What's his name? Isaiah
Pacheco.
Yeah.
Both of them were not that good. Pacheco got a lot of garbage time points.
Yeah. And then that's when I read that one. I went with McKinnon. But then I was going through the free agency or, the waiver wire this morning, and I saw a lot of better players out there. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sacrifice those $25 and get someone better.
But you felt so okay. But you thought that like people were going to spend $20 for Jerick McKinnon after
I overspent for him. There's no doubt about that. But I felt
you had to have him.
Edwards-Helaire is not
so much that you threw him in the garbage can.
Edwards-Helaire really isn't that good, and I think he
I know
last week. And I am worried. I was like, it's good to have a backup running back from the Chiefs, but
I don't think anybody has him right now. So Whalers bid $2, lost out on that one, got him for free, and then dropped him as well.
So
this guy's got to be. I mean, what a day he's had in this league. He's got to,
I have to say it was a waste of money. I don't deny that. But it's all right. I have now 172 FAAB dollars. I think I'm okay, and I found some better guys on the waiver wire after the transactions were set. So I'm okay. I feel okay.
Any comment on the fuck you pickup by Whalers?
Well, he dropped him anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You gonna go re-pick him up for nothing?
No. Maybe next week.
Great pick there. Curtis Samuel for $2. Bronky Kong with, I think, the winner of this week's free agency.
Easily. Yeah, I was looking at that guy.
Fantastic pickup right there. I just, great pickup.
You didn't like the Donovan Peoples-Jones pickup?
I mean, maybe. But that was $3.
I was actually surprised people didn't go after him more.
Yeah. Carson Wentz just kept throwing it to him over and over and over.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I didn't even watch. So, I mean, I could say this. I really didn't watch the Cleveland game, but I did watch the Washington game. And yeah, he did. Absolutely. I think the Curtis Samuel pickup was a great one. And had I known it was only going to be $2,
you don't even bother to play McLaurin until Samuels gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Well, I mean, like I said, it's 1 week, but out of the, what happened that week, I think that was he looked good. He looked good.
So did I have the worst free agency?
I mean, this week, not ever. I mean, obviously, the worst ever, I believe, is the $91 for Hawkinson, but
Okay.
In the year before, Hawkinson was good. Yeah. Yes, you did.
That much?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
And so $10 for.
Rice ready to put it.
Right here.
It was on the chair. Always leave it there because I have to leave it right away. I can't find it.
Listening to Gaz's mom on the
Here on the chair.
No, let's all
put it back. I don't know.
I saw a fly in the hallway there on the wall. I'm gonna kill him.
nothing but professionalism here.
I actually, it's a little better than me falling asleep, though.
Did you take it outside?
It's early in the season.
Look at that shit.
What are you trying to press your phone so you can mute us? Is that what's happening here? We could hear it all. Nothing. All right. $10 for the Pittsburgh defense. It's a little bit much to spend on the defense, but you know what? I actually thought about picking up the Pittsburgh defense. I wasn't going to spend that much, but not a bad pickup by Eugene. They had a good game versus Cincinnati this last week, and then they're playing New England, who played pretty badly, and Miami had a lot of points last week against Miami, and they're turnover prone. The only caveat I would say to that is that if you just look at the points, Miami had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So I mean that's part of the reason why the Pittsburgh defensive points were inflated. Also, I think JJ Watt's out now, so that might affect them this week. I don't know, but I will actually be at that game, so I will see firsthand the defense that I did not pick up. And then, I mean, then there's a million other transactions that just happened just today.
That's all the transactions for money?
For money, yeah. Everything else after that. So
Wow,
there's only 4.
that's it?
Everything else is just yeah, after that. So, and I'm sure there will be more. There'll probably be some mid this podcast right now. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of I have not been. I don't know. Me personally, I'm waiting to see on anything. I think I did one transaction today actually. Dropped Marvin Jones Jr. and picked up Zay Jones. So feel free to pick up Marvin Jones Jr. after his terrible performance. But clearly they were targeting Zay Jones a little bit more. I still don't even know if I'm going to play him, but I would have gone after obviously Curtis Samuel, but I just didn't.
Donkey Kong picked up Christian Watson for Tyler Boyd. Interesting.
I'm sure he read something somewhere. He suffered a bad drop for the Packers last week, resulting in a decreased trust in snaps as the game wore on. And though his upside was evident, his role entering week 2 against the Bears in further question if Alan Lazard returns from an ankle injury. I mean, vote of confidence if I've ever seen one. All right.
Interesting.
I did love, so I know that Whalers, I don't know if the Whalers did pick up Taysom Hill. I don't know if he's still there or not. But I loved the description that they wrote about this. Listed as a tight end for what we can only assume are tax evasion purposes. Quarterback Hill was just that line was absolutely worth the price of admission. All right. There will be countless more, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the standings. So Eugene with the highest score of the league last week, 139 at a top of the league. Clever name pending. Look at this, number 2 with 130 points right there. Then the finest with 127, followed by Wakanda, and then the Whale of Destiny and Tillet Trey rounding out the winners, while the 1603ers lead the losers bracket with 122, followed by the Hagglers, the Lightning Rods, and then the huge drop off with Gronky Kong, Nick and Jamie, and Zamunda at the bottom. All right.
Overall, a pretty low scoring week.
Yeah, 130. I mean, yeah. But I mean, I feel like a lot of that is attributed to they just don't do practice in the preseason anymore. So
yeah,
I mean, teams are rusty, and which is why I mean, like I always say, you got to wait till week 3 or 4 before you get any real idea of who or what.
Yeah, my team was hamstrung by Keenan McCardle. Thanks, asshole. And he's out this week because they have the short week against the Chiefs. That's great.
Keenan Allen, I think you mean.
Or McCardle. We might as well be McCardle.
Yeah, sure. All right. So where shall we go? I mean, obviously we only have 2 listeners and they're playing each other, so we're going to save that one for last. Let's just go to the top. We'll go to 1603ers versus Gronky Kong. Right now, the 1603ers are projected to get 134.30. Gronky Kong only 118.49. I mean, I think that's a high projection for Wilson after what I saw last week, although he still got 20 points, so it's not that low. Or it's not that high. Cooper Cup with 22 points projected against Atlanta. I think he might exceed that. DJ Chark versus Washington. We'll see how he does there. McCaffrey at the Giants. Hines at Jacksonville, Andrews versus Miami, Burkhead at Denver, and McManus versus Houston, and New England at Pittsburgh. So at least I'll be rooting for turnovers discreetly in the stands there. For Gronky Kong, Lamar Jackson versus Miami, Ayuk versus Seattle. Curtis Samuel, the guy I could have spent $3 on to not have to face him. At Detroit, Kamara versus Tampa Bay. That's actually going to be a tough matchup because Tampa Bay is a really good run defense if he even plays. Najee Harris, he might play, but I mean, like, you still run the risk of him, not playing at full capacity. I mean, that's a terrible situation for him to be in right now. I think Gronky would benefit if he just doesn't even play at all and they play the other guy rather than just have him in there. Slightly Dalton Schultz, like I said, might benefit from having the backup quarterback in. I think tight ends oftentimes do. Chubb at the Jets, that's a good spot for him. Joseph, and then the Cincinnati defense at Dallas. That's a good pickup right there. So yeah, I mean, I might put in Wilson. We'll see. But I mean, my problem is I don't know what to make of the San Francisco team. Now, granted, I think the weather was terrible in Chicago last week, so you can't make too much of a judgment based on that, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't really see that much on his team.
I'd like you to knock Gronky Kong to 0-2. That would be very nice.
I would like it too. But I always pick my opponent, so obviously I'm picking Gronky Kong.
I'm going to pick 1603ers in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, Samuel boosts this team a little bit, but there's still a lot of question marks.
Your top guys have good matchups this week. I think Miami is probably the toughest of your top three guys. I think McCaffrey's going to have a bounce back week against the Giants. Cup against Atlanta. I mean, he's going to be awesome. I actually think Wilson playing at home against Houston, I think he's going to have a big game. I mean, he's going to be kind of pissed with what happened against Seattle. So, I mean, Harris is such a big question mark with that injury. Chubb against the Jets is a good matchup, but Schultz is terrible. For Dallas I don't even know the Dallas quarterback who he's going to be. So I got to go with 1603ers here.
Yeah.
2 for me, 1 for Gronky Kong. All right. Moving on to the next game. Hackettstown's finest, who I'm sure always picks himself, against Tillett Trey. Well, I'm assuming that there's some people sitting out right now because that projection is pretty damn low with 95.79 for Tillett Trey, 129 for Hackettstown's finest. So, he's got Prescott, but he's going to put in Carson Wentz. So add 20 points to that projection. So that makes it 115 for the projection. So you'd still be ahead. And then the kicker, why does he have a 0 projection? He's out?
Yeah, he got hurt.
The kicker got hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Wonder if he'll even notice. I wonder if Taco will notice.
You get -3 for the kicker being hurt.
It might benefit him to with the missed extra points and stuff. You might almost want to sit out a kicker. So, all right. So you got Burrow at Dallas. Oh my God! You want to talk about a good matchup? Burrow at Dallas this week. You got to feel good about that.
Good.
Gabriel Davis versus Tennessee. You got Peoples Jones versus the Jets. That's a good matchup for you right there. But you already said that. Williams versus Houston. Wow. All right. Henderson versus Atlanta. Kelsey versus the Chargers on Thursday night. Henry at Buffalo.
I'm actually thinking of benching Henry this week because that's a tough matchup.
It is. Maybe play Sanders, Mr. Sanders right there.
Maybe. Well, Minnesota has a decent defense. I might put Williams. Williams was good. A lot of goal line carries. So I'm thinking about it. We'll see.
I don't know even if it's even gonna be necessary. So you got Carson Wentz going against Detroit. Let's see if he can keep. I mean, like he did have a fantastic game last week, but let's see what he does now. Jerry Judy versus Houston. So he does have that half of that game. Metcalf at San Francisco. I mean, I don't know. I thought Mixon at Dallas. I mean, Mixon should have a very good game. And so I mean, as far as matchups within this game, I think it's going to be interesting as to whether or not Burrow hands it off to Mixon versus you're almost in the reverse situation of what I was. You could very much be hurt in the way that I was last week, but I don't.
He has Judy and I have Javante. So if Wilson is passing it to Judy, I have it's.
Although I think he passes it way more to Javante, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Fournette, he's out, right? Is that what? Or he's hurt?
Questionable.
Questionable. I mean, like our hamstring was limited in the practice. Okay, so we'll see what goes on there. Goddard versus Minnesota. I don't know anything about that. Connor versus Vegas. I think he's good for a touchdown there. And then we'll see about those two things. I mean, he could certainly put in if Fournette doesn't go, then I mean, he's got AJ Dillon. Certainly can put him in.
If I were him, I would probably just start him.
I know, I would too. But even still, I got to go with the finest here. I think that yeah.
Are there 2 Monday night games?
There are.
Yeah,
2 Monday night games this week.
Yeah.
What? No.
Tennessee and Buffalo at 7, and then there's Philly and Minnesota at 8:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going with the finest.
Ooh, on this, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the finest too. I just, with Geno Smith, he's just not there to do anything for Metcalf. I mean, the Connor Mixon Fournette combo meal is all right, but the supporting cast is just not there.
I mean, look, if Wentz has the kind of game that he did last week, which it's questionable, at least fantasy wise, he can certainly be in this game. And then you add some kicking points. I mean, then the projection gets about even. But I still just think that the matchups for the finest this week they're just too good.
Except Henry against Buffalo. I am worried about that matchup.
That is the one bad one. But I mean, I think, you go with that versus.
Yeah, I feel like I have to start Henry. I mean, he's my blue chip running back. Like, I don't know.
Who knows?
Just pure volume you get with Henry. But yeah, I mean.
I'm assuming you're picking yourself.
Yeah, I would have to say I'm the slight favorite in this game.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on to the Hagglers versus Zamunda. Now, if you ever had a potential for a bounce back week, it's against Zmart, who, I mean, let's be fair, had a pretty terrible week last week. But he might have a bounce back game too. I don't know. So let's see. So you got Allen going versus Tennessee on Monday. Tyreek Hill at Baltimore.
Carter is the replacement for Keenan Allen, but we'll see how
so it's interesting because I was, I read a bunch of stuff about like originally like they thought it was gonna be Josh Palmer, but then Palmer was terrible. And so yes, I actually had looked at Carter. I mean, he ended up getting 15, I
watched the game immediately after Allen was hurt. Carter scored a touchdown, and he seemed to be the only person that Sherbert was even looking at. So I think Palmer's a non-factor. Everett got a lot of looks, and Mike Williams, he's the guy who just, if he doesn't get an 80-yard bomb, he's not getting anything.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty good pickup. Especially considering
and they're gonna have to score a lot of points against the Chiefs. It's gonna be a shootout.
Yeah, I think that's a good pickup. Particularly
just for 1 week, and then you throw him in the garbage when he comes back.
Yeah. No, I think for this scenario, given everything, yes, I think that is a good pickup for this, and I think it's a good play for this week.
Finally, I'll use Dave's advice. Patterson's in.
Of course, you use my advice when they're playing the Rams, so I have to actually let me hedge it slightly on this one. Although the main running back is injured. We'll see if they even play the other guy. Their line is terrible anyway. I think we'll see how it goes. But this might be a tougher defense. Plus, the Rams are gonna want to make a statement after that opening debacle, and Atlanta is not the Bills, so we'll see. But then that also, by the way, that also lends the game to Atlanta having to catch up, and Patterson can be the beneficiary of it. So I don't think that it's necessarily. I mean, look, you know that I love me some Patterson, but
I was surprised with Gibson's receiving yards out of the backfield, so he's in the lineup.
Yeah, and I'm playing against Detroit. That was also another high-scoring game too. I think that Gibson, I think that's a pretty good play for this week. Interesting that you're still going with Knox versus Tennessee. But I think
Allen is so. I mean, he's so unpredictable. He spreads the ball around, and after the Hooper debacle,
sure,
the tight end market is pretty thin.
Is it? Oh,
Playing Dortch as your flex as opposed to McLaurin.
Now I watched the Arizona game. So McLaurin is hot garbage as long as Samuel's in there because he's not. He caught a 49-yard touchdown bomb to salvage last week with 13 points. Before that, he had 1.9 points. Terry McLaurin. So until I see him get some actual looks, he's sitting down. It's the Samuel Gibson show in Washington with Wentz right now. You got to look at the quarterback.
Interesting.
I mean, that's okay. I think that's a very interesting play there.
Okay, who else do you have here on your bench? You got McLaurin, Singletary, Edwards-Helaire. You don't want to play anyone on a Thursday night game?
You want to play Landry?
Not against Tampa Bay, no.
Yeah, not against Tampa Bay.
Hold
Not
on.
Singletary. You had enough of that.
Oh yeah, not against Tennessee either. Tennessee's run defense is pretty tough. I mean, Saquon, he's no Saquon.
You don't even want McLaurin. I mean, you don't think McLaurin can get a bomb against Detroit? I mean, Dortch? Really Dortch?
No, Dortch got a lot of looks.
I mean, all right.
I was a little bit surprised because he, with AJ Green being a turd and DeAndre Hopkins being suspended, they went to the Christian Kirk position a lot, and that was this guy.
They didn't target like Rondell Moore.
No,
Rondell Moore's hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah. I actually had him on my bench and then had to drop him because of
So this guy was Christian Kirk. If Christian Kirk had stayed on the Cardinals, that would be this guy. They actually went to the slot receiver a lot. So we're gonna see how this plays out.
Okay.
I watched the game. They kept throwing it to this guy over and over and over. Actually,
how many targets did he have last week, Dortch?
Yeah, he led the team in targets with 9.
Okay.
The only thing he was missing was a touchdown. 7 for 63, 13.3 points.
So he got that 13.3 without a touchdown. All right, that's a good performance then. I mean, look, he's 2% rostered. Plus 2% in the last day. I love that. 2% rostered plus 2% in the last day, which means he was 0% rostered before you picked him up. I think you are the 2%. I think
I am, yeah.
I think you've literally moved all of Yahoo's.
Yeah.
You and one other guy. You should meet the other guy for a Dortch reunion right there. All right. And then Zamunda's rolling with Trey Lance, the big. I mean, he's
going for twofers with Debo.
He is
and
now
threefers with the kicker.
Now I will say this.
Very San Francisco and Green Bay heavy.
And they played terrible last week. But San Francisco, like I said, there was some weather issues in Chicago that might have affected that game. So let's see how San Francisco does this week. Smith Schuster, what did he do last week? I just don't. 11 points. Okay, I mean, no touchdowns, so it's receptions. All right. Eckler. So he's very heavy on that Thursday night game. Playing Aaron Jones versus Chicago. That's actually a pretty good pick. I mean, the question is, does Aaron Jones still own Chicago? Tanyan, your favorite. He only got 6.6 last week, but he did come back from the ACL, so maybe he'll play better this time. Christian Kirk. I'm pretty sure he had a good game last week. I mean, I watched
He had
it.
17. Yep.
He had a good game. Robbie Gould and the Green Bay defense versus Chicago. Okay. Waddle, you got to play Waddle, Nick.
You gotta play Waddle. You gotta play Waddle. He's good.
And Robinson. Why is he not playing Robinson? You got to play Waddle and Robinson. You're going take out.
Well, he can't really get him in.
Yeah, he can take out Smith Schuster, put Waddle in there.
Yeah,
and then
no, but Robinson's a little tougher.
Take Kurt.
Not after a 17-point performance.
Does he really? What did he? 12 points from Devo? You got to play one of those.
You got to play Debo.
Technically, he can't even play Robinson.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, he could for Jones, but I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know. You got to play one of the two.
Yeah, you got to play Waddle.
I would play Waddle over Smith.
Yeah, you got to play. I agree. And then you don't want to have too many guys going on Thursday night.
I know. So Nick is favored by a decent amount. I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with Dortch. So the projection is 126.59 to.
You're not reading much into the transaction. You're reading into the eye test and what the targets say. So I mean, yeah,
it's going to get more than
projections mean nothing. Projections mean nothing.
I agree that projections really mean nothing. And you look, you have Dortch and you have Carter, two people who, based on your analysis, are slated.
No, well, Carter's just situational for the. It's a high scoring shootout versus the Chiefs, and Allen's out.
And I agree with that, but I'm saying that those are two players that that based on your analysis are going to get way above their projections. Is what you right?
Oh yeah,
which is the kind of moves that you have to make in order to win games. So, and I think Trey Lance, I think he's going to fall below. I mean, that Seattle defense looked pretty good last week. It's a rivalry game, and which could also bring down Deebo Samuel. I mean, certainly if you play,
although I think this is a trap game for Seattle. They're going on the road to San Francisco. San Francisco will be pissed that they didn't beat the Bears. The Bears are one of the consensus worst teams in the NFL.
That's not a trap game, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's like a game where Seattle might take their foot off the gas a little bit, and San Francisco is going to go off. They're also playing at home.
Rival. Those two teams hate each other. They're legit
divisional games.
What?
Yeah,
they hate each other going all the way back to Richard Sherman. And, you don't take those kinds of games off. Now, that doesn't mean that that Seattle will not be as good as last time, but I don't know. I think this game for you really comes down to that San Francisco. I think that's the game that determines it. The San Francisco Seattle game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I got to favor Nick based on just
I'm taking a gamble, so I'm not surprised that you do.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, like I said, it would not surprise me if you won because you are, but I mean, if I'm just analyzing it based on what I see, like any, objectively, Nick is the favorite.
It's an interesting game, though. Very interesting.
Look, and if if we're here next week and you win, I mean, then those.
This is going to teach me a lot as a coach because both of those players, Carter and Dortch, passed every checkbox that I would have had to start them this week, and we'll see what happens. They might totally
watch some tape on these guys, Carter and Dortch.
No, but also I think that your analysis is the kind of analysis that needs to be done, and is like the kind that really good successful fantasy managers do, because a lot of people, like I said, they're always listening to the latte picks and they're always listening to what people said. So if you actually you watch these games, if you saw something that and it pans out for you, I think good for you. I think
if you win this game, you're definitely the coach of the week.
Okay.
Put it that way.
All right. I mean, we could get blown out and look completely silly, but I saw stuff and I'm going with it. I'm going with my gut.
Well, and look, it's early in the season. This is the time to go with your gut. And it's the Hagglers. You generally don't win until week 5 or 6.
I know we've gone 0-5 almost every.
Yeah, so whatever. It's time to learn stuff. But
it's another throwaway game.
Exactly.
You're gonna need to pick up another defense, though. I don't think that's a good play. Dallas against Cincinnati.
I've got Miami against Baltimore.
That's not a good play either.
Yeah.
Did you see how many sacks Burrow gave up?
Yeah. And the Dallas defense is, I mean, what did they get last week?
They got 5 points.
2 sacks, 1 interception.
Against Tom Brady. I mean, Burrow's offensive line is horrific. And he turned it over 5 times last week against Pittsburgh.
Who else is out there?
I don't know.
And it's at Dallas. I mean, now granted, the Cowboys' offense is horrific.
I don't think they're going to go into negatives because I think you'll at least get it back in sacks. But the point total, I think that Dallas is going to give up some points. But I don't know. Hey, no guts, no glory.
Defense is still out there.
I think the Miami defense is pretty. You don't like Miami against Lamar? They beat the crap out of them last year.
Yeah, but I think that the Miami defense last week, I mean, it was all that that fumble recovery, right? So 2 sacks,
And
1 interception, and a fumble
offense
recovery.
is way worse than the Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they did only give up 7 points. I mean, I don't know. I don't love either of them, but I don't think that.
I think they're younger, they're more athletic, and they match up well against Lamar. They embarrassed the Ravens last year.
Okay.
But I still like Dallas getting a lot of sacks on Burrow and forcing turnovers on the Bengals right now. The Bengals right now are a mess on their offensive line, and they're turning the football over constantly. Now, Burrow does late game heroics, so they will get the points back, I think, though, in turnovers.
And look, I mean, but so this is the opposite, of the Pittsburgh coin, where Eugene goes out and spends $10 on Pittsburgh, so he's saying that or he's believing that it was all Pittsburgh, whereas you're saying, well, no, it's actually that they.
I think that the Cincinnati Bengals have a lot more problems than you think.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see how that pans out. Plus, Eugene gets a little mention in your segment, so he's got to love that.
And maybe Dallas's offense, they're decimated, so maybe they'll focus more on their defense.
Yeah. All possible. All right. So moving down the line, skipping the one game that our listeners care about, the Lightning Rods versus Wakanda. So right now the projection here is 128.88 to 98.1 in favor of the Lightning Rods. Why is that? Because there's no flex, there's no defense. Okay. So, all right. So Tom Brady at New Orleans. I think that Brady will do fine there. Kirk Cousins at Philadelphia.
I don't know about that. New Orleans, they are 4-0 against the Tom Brady Bucks.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too, actually. There was one of the earlier games. Yeah, and plus, I don't know. I don't think I'm curious about how Tom does this season. I don't know. We'll see. Fair enough. All right. Cousins at Philadelphia.
Yeah. Good play. I mean,
Diggs versus Tennessee and Mike Williams at Kansas City. So I think that Diggs will have his points. I don't know about Mike Williams. We'll see.
Mike Williams didn't do diddly squat.
I know.
2 catches for 10 yards. My cat could.
We know what an athlete your cat is, though. I mean, but maybe with Keenan Allen out, they scheme around Mike Williams more in the pregame, in the plan. So we'll see. I mean,
if you saw what Mahomes did to Arizona, Mike Williams is going to get some major usage because they're going to have to go deep.
Yeah. And then for Wakanda, I mean, Chase at Dallas, I think that's a good matchup. And then Valdez Scantling. So he's got, talk about, the other end of the spectrum there. I think Oh, McKissick landed on Wakanda. Look at that. Look at that. Obviously, now I favor Wakanda.
Did he go anywhere? He's always had. He had McKissick last week.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of who was the other guy? Who was your guy? Your $25 guy?
Oh, McKinnon.
McKinnon. Yeah, sorry. Whatever.
Jarek McKinnon.
Whatever. All right. Well, then I don't favor him. But Jonathan Taylor at Jacksonville, I think that's a good matchup. Montgomery and Gordon, they're not. McKissick, what did he do last week?
Lightning Rods has the worst running back
Yeah, he does.
in the league. That's a terrible running back combo.
Hawkinson versus Fryermuth. Fryermuth had a good game last week, right? Yeah, he did. What did Hawkinson do? 7.8. Interesting. And then what are his flex options here? He's got who Burks is. He actually 8.5. I saw Wakanda making a bunch of moves this morning. Gainwell, what did he get? 11 points. Okay. Lazard, see if he plays. Josh Palmer. So he picked up the other end of that. I don't know.
How does that let Wakanda have?
Why is there a Q by Pittman?
What on the bench? Why does it let you have 8 people when if you pick up anybody, it makes you drop somebody?
Well, because he's got nobody in for
inside the thing
or the defense. So,
all right.
Yeah, so like how do you if he were to add those up, then yeah. Pittman injured with the quad. Interesting. Look at that. Limited tag. We expect to see him to play. Yeah, he's gonna play.
Michael Thomas is gonna be in there.
Yeah, especially after last week.
Yeah, but what do you do with Mike Williams then? I mean,
he's deep at receiver.
He is deep at receiver.
But he's extremely weak at running back.
He should work out a deal with Tillett. Tillett posted the thing that nobody reads. About he's got running backs. They should trade. Well, go make a deal there with the Lightning Rods. I don't know on this one. I mean, it's so early on, like these guys haven't said anybody. Maybe you know what? I'm gonna go with Wakanda. I'm gonna go with Wakanda here. Even with we'll see how depending on how he sets his lineup, but I think I'm gonna go with Wakanda.
Oh yeah, one of my original rivals. I'm going with Dr. Hockey.
There you go. All right. Then Nick and Jamie versus Clever Name Pending. So one with a completely not clever name and one with a clever name pending. All right. Projections here 128.70 to 121.73 in favor of clever name. I mean, I can tell you off the bat, I'm going to go with Charles Foster. I just think Nick and Jamie's team is terrible. But let's actually look at the matchup. So you got Mahomes versus the Chargers on Thursday night. I think, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to play well. I have no doubt about that. Still going with Robinson after last week. That's okay. Deontay Johnson. I mean, I think that those 12s were a lot of that was overtime. I think New England keeps it closer. I see some problems in his wide receivers right there. Dalvin Cook at Philadelphia, okay, and then Kareem Hunt versus the Jets. I think he's got some good running backs there. So you got Elliott and Pollard. So, it's ridiculous. Okay. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on, Nick and Jamie.
I mean, Ertz, okay, he did all right last week, I think. Yeah, 11 points for Ertz. Higgins is even. Isn't he out? He's on the concussion protocol. Okay. Bateman versus. I mean, come on. Why am I even analyzing this game?
Well, Ertz has a calf. If he doesn't go, they have no back.
I would play DJ Moore against the Giants. I'd probably play Jacobs against Arizona.
Sure.
They're gonna have to wait till Hurts is declared, and he's the 4:00 game.
I mean, but but honestly, I don't think that his problem is.
Yeah, it's not running back. It's
First of all, move Bateman up to wide receiver. Take out these two losers. Move up Bateman.
Put more in.
What did Renfro do? Pick up somebody. I don't know. Yeah, maybe put more. Or just play Deontay. I guess I don't. May or I don't. Ugh. Actually, no. What you do is you move Bateman up to wide receiver 1. You take out these two losers, or keep one, or maybe put up more, whatever, and then you put in for your third. What did Penny finish with? 8.7. Maybe you play Jake. I don't know. You play a third running back over there at flex. Maybe, I don't know. It's not going to matter because Nick and Jamie are terrible.
Yeah,
and half their team is questionable. They're terrible anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They get coach of the year if they can turn this dumpster fire around. They get coach of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. They just look terrible. But I'm clearly going with clever name pending.
Oh
yeah, I agree with that.
I gotta give it to Bowtie. Looks like he's gonna clobber these guys.
Yeah, I know. Not a bad start to his career here. All right. Moving on to the one game that our viewers care about. Dave Secret Crush versus the Whale of Destiny. Traditional rivals here in the center. All right. So Dave Secret Crush is favored 132.74 to 123.35 currently.
He's already picked up my Trevor Carr out of the raccoon garbage bin.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's certainly an improvement over Lawrence. Does he have any other?
Claypool out of Manny's garbage bin.
Yeah.
Still playing Akers. Fearless.
He believes. He believes he's a man of destiny. So he gets 2 furs also from Devontae Adams and Carr. Okay, I can certainly go behind that, and then Jefferson. So all right. So we already know
Top 4 guys are excellent.
Right. It's the bottom half that we got to look at. So now, obviously, who does he have to replace Akers?
Basically, how does he avoid another
negative 1.8 for James Cook? Right. Yeah. So this is the backup in. So if Lenny doesn't go in Tampa Bay, that's who he's thinking of going there with there. Walker, I don't even what. He must be reading some deep, or he must have been shiny in the garbage can. I don't know. Okay.
I mean, there's nobody in the bench to put in.
Yeah, his bench is terrible.
So he picked up Taysom Hill to replace Kittle. If he doesn't go, what's his status right now? Injured groin and missed Monday against the. All right, I don't know. Mitchell's on so he's got a flyer. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know.
Bench is weak.
I know.
His team is very top heavy, but
I mean, he'll get those points from those guys if he could just get. Honestly, if he could just get double digits from the rest of that, the guys down there. He's in every single game, but clearly people are not discarding good enough trash yet. I don't know. And then for Eugene, so he's got
McKinnon is still available.
What?
McKinnon is still available.
And frankly, given the situation that he finds himself in at running back, might not be a bad pickup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But for the Crush, I mean, he's got Herbert at Kansas City. He's going to get a lot of points there. Sutton, I think he had a really good game last week, right? Well, he had a good game. And that's without a touchdown. I mean, AJ Brown versus Minnesota.
Who does Denver target more? Like, who's their number 1 receiver? Is it Sutton or Judy?
Javonte Adams or Javonte Williams.
I'll take that.
I watched that game. That's all I saw him pass to. Barkley versus Carolina. I mean, Barkley is, he plays like he did. I mean, and they feed him the ball. Etienne, I don't know about that one. So Pitt, I don't know. St. Brown, he'll still be good. McPherson will lose you a few points there. The Pittsburgh defense also good. So then, who's he have on the bench? So what are we looking? What is he? I think like an RB2, maybe Bryce Hall. I mean, he got 10 points. That should be. He picked up Dotson. I mean, but I don't think. I mean, he doesn't really need any receiver help right now. He needs another RB. So I maybe play Bryce Hall. I mean, look,
I gotta go with Eugene in this matchup.
Yeah, me too. I mean, unless look, I don't know what's going to be thrown in the trash between now and Sunday, but and that could change the dynamic of this. And granted, he is the whale of destiny, but I mean, look, the two weaknesses I see are Etienne and Pitts. I mean, Everett, what did he do last week? 14 points, so 4 targets, 3 receptions, but a touchdown is really what boosted that.
Yeah, you got to watch it when double digits includes a touchdown.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm not gonna. And there's really honestly no room to put Dotson.
Yeah, I'd go with the lineup that.
Yeah, I
both of these guys are kind of playing the best lineups that they have at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, depending on what his status is. So he goes at 105 on Sunday, and then he'll goes at 10 a.m. So it's the 4. Well, sorry for East Coast people, that's the 1 p.m. game for Hill, and then the 4:05 for Kittle. So he's actually not going to get the. He's not going to have to declare. He's going to have to make a decision based on the. If it's a game time decision, he's going to have to make a decision there. Yeah, I mean, I gotta favor Eugene in this one right now. Like I said, things change. If people get picked out of the garbage can, maybe I'll change it. But for right now, I gotta go with Eugene.
I agree.
Yeah, I gotta go Eugene right now. Just the bottom half of the lineup. I don't think it's gonna hold up.
Yeah.
I mean, the top. I look, but I will say, I think it's going to be close. I think that the top half of that lineup is really going to get him a lot of points. I think it's going to be a game. Like I don't want to discount that, because I think Carr's going to throw a lot of touchdowns to Adams, and Jefferson's going to get a ton of points, and I think Swift will do really well against Washington. I think there's going to be a ton of points that are going to come out of those bottom people. I just don't know if there's enough on the bottom half of the lineup to get him across the line. But
Kittle, it's become Debo's team instead of Kittle in San Francisco. It used to be his team,
and I agree with that as well. So
keep in mind, like Atlanta with Pitts, like Atlanta, they score a lot of points, but they just find ways to lose games. So,
but I think they're going to Patterson a lot more than they're going to Pitts anyway.
That's true.
And then Etienne, I just don't. I mean, look, I know that he's the highly touted guy. I just maybe and maybe he will emerge as that. I just don't see it yet. And especially with Robinson. I mean, like with how he played last week and how he, and he's clearly the number one for right now, at least. So I don't know. So I'm certainly giving it to Dave's secret. I think this is going to
be closer than the projection says.
Yeah. And I think this might be a high scoring game between these, both of them.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to outperform their projections. But yeah. All right. So who are we going for the lock of the week?
Anybody over Nick and Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going for Cliff ending over Nick and Jamie. I mean,
I agree there.
Yeah. And then your upset of the week.
I'm picking myself over Zuma as the upset.
I am too. I think that makes the most sense based on yeah, I mean, just your strategy and everything else. I certainly would go with that as well.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a good week, and hope you have a good week upcoming.
Good luck to all the teams out there.
Yes.
Exactly, and
Nice to have fantasy football back, guys. It's very nice.
It's nice to have it back.
Yes.
You know,
It's always a lot of fun.
not always, but
Yeah.
a decent amount of fun.
I mean, our week 1 game was exhilarating, to say the least. So.
Yes, it was. I'm glad it wasn't at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, yeah.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Until next time. See ya.
All right. Peace out.